Good morning, good afternoon. Happy Tuesday, July 8th. Hope you all had a beautiful, blessed 4th of July weekend. Celebrated some independence, some freedom, some barbecue, some fireworks. If you're watching this recording, like, comment, share this video with your fellow solarpreneurs. As always, everybody is welcome. Power Hitter, Solar Warrior Tribe, the Power platform. And this recording is shared on the YouTube and team chats as well. We have a great training for you today. And of course, I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Tom Cotter. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Jonathan. Yeah, it was a good 4th of July here. Yesterday morning, our two dogs wrote an op-ed in the newspaper, local newspaper, about how they were fans of drone shows rather than fireworks shows.
Yeah,
Hopefully everyone's dogs have recovered well from all of the trauma.
a little easier drones on the dogs than the fireworks, but
Yes, yes.
glad you guys made it through. I know there's been some new updates these last few days in the solar space. A lot of fireworks have been going off. Helga will tell you later, but a lot of deals are being signed as well. So let's go ahead and jump into it as we always do. Raise your hand, type in the chat, come off of mute. Let's get a few rapid fire success stories, some wins. I know with July and the news breaking over the weekend, my team has some jobs that are being sold and some people saying now's the time to get off the fence. So what success stories do we have out there? If anyone would like to share. Don't know.
I know Bill's got one, but I just signed a deal in Tampa, Florida, 16 kilowatt of solar, uh, Q.Tron modules, by the way, and 27 kilowatt hours of storage and a roof included as well. So the
Nice.
Helga, as you're listening, there you go. This was an engineer that absolutely loved the Q.Tron modules.
Yay. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, I sent out 4th of July text message blasts on my CRM to my 800 customers, wishing them a happy, sunny, solar freedom 4th of July from their solar superhero, Jonathan Bernasso. I got tons of love and thanks back, and I reminded all of them that the big bill is ending the tax credit and let's earn them some $1,000 referral checks. Someone already is talking to their neighbor, said that they were interested. I got another email from a prospect saying, can we get this done this year? What do we need to do to sign up? So it's about getting action, showing up. Fabian, congrats, signed one in Maine and one in Massachusetts yesterday. Awesome. Any other wins or success stories, sales, ambassadors, recruits, anything else going on out there? I know my brother had a recruiting call last night. He had about 5 or 6 people sign up on the recruiting call. It's our own recruiting calls that we do, and he had 5 or 6 people sign up, and he did it from Portugal at 1:30 in the morning his time, 5:30 Pacific our time. Must be nice, huh? Must be nice. All right, you guys are too quiet. Keep typing success stories in the chat. Let's keep it rolling here. As always, real quick, a few trainings. The TPO Aurora Sales Success Lounge is there for you. The Setter Surge and Power Up and Power Handoff is there for you and your recruits. Also, this Thursday, the most important company-wide CEO call. So this Thursday, 12 Pacific, please register. Someone drop the link in the chat. Jonathan Budd is going to paint the picture of our plan, vision, and industry going forward. So you will not want to miss that company call. As always, market development meetings, Monday newsletter, Setter Surge trainings. Real quick, the newsletter, please read Jonathan Budd's op-ed here. He really let a lot of passion and truth fly. So make sure to read your newsletter. sign up for the mastermind. Give us feedback here. Domestic content requirements is changing. Powerwall 3 in California, good leap. Got a nice upgrade there. Light Reach is now using Q.Trons. We're going to talk about today. This is cool. Did you see this, Tom?
I did not. I did not see
You
that.
need to read your newsletter, Tom. I'm just kidding.
It's like the one week that you asked me and I didn't read it yet.
Guys and gals, check this out. We can do a homeowner rebate with loan or TPO up to $1,500 now. That's pretty dang cool. So thank you, Powur, for going from $599 up to $1,500. Use that strategically. Use that as a promotion. Use that to drive urgency. Maybe it's a July promo, 4th of July till the end of the week. We are the business owner. You get to use that to
So
close
that
sales.
I guess that came out very quickly. So that was a part of the legislation that was signed on Friday, actually. So maybe there's $1,000 or $900 good part of something that happened in that bill.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Solar Saturday events, workshops. All right, keep it going here. Let's go to Tom with the power perspective of the week.
Thank you, Jonathan. We all know people who see a challenge and instantly shut down. It's like they see a disruption as just a complete disaster. And then there's us at Powur. We historically have treated disruptions like directions. We did that in 2020 when COVID disrupted the world and our industry. We did that in 2022 when interest rates went up. We did it in 2023 when NEM 3 started in California. And we did that in last year in 2024 when Sonova came apart at the seams. And now in 2025, we're going to treat disruption like direction once again. And that's our perspective for today. This is a really quick reel, so pay attention.
Can you hear it, Tom?
I cannot. But I will say what Chris says in that Diary of a CEO reel. He says, successful people see opportunity in every failure. Normal people see failure in every opportunity, and both are right. Only one gets rich. We'll come back to that. But this last Friday, July 4th, there was a line that was drawn in our industry. President signed legislation that officially ends the homeowner solar tax credit, Section 24D, after December of this year, 2025. So we've got months left to help homeowners capture that credit personally. And lots of people will still buy solar next year, but the economics are going to be different. For leases and PPAs, the credit with 48E for companies like GoodLeap, LightReach, Infin, other TPO companies, that was kept in place. And next year, the industry is going to shift more towards leases and PPAs. So let me say what that video said once again. Successful people see opportunity in every failure. Normal people see failure in every opportunity. Both are right, only one gets rich. So I wanted to use this to highlight how important it is that you're listening in this Thursday at noon Pacific for the CEO Mastermind. You're going to hear directly from Jonathan Budd about what's changing, how we're adapting, and why he's more optimistic than ever. And we're going to find out the new direction that we are headed as a community and a company. So Thursday is your chance to get clarity and to understand how to position yourself to be successful going forward. Jonathan?
Love it. Thank you, Tom. And yeah, I think Jonathan Budd echoed that in the newsletter, that change is the only damn thing that is consistent. And the only thing he cares about is who do we need to become to adapt to change. That's the only thing that matters. So more on Thursday from our CEO, Jonathan Budd, and visionary here. Last week, our social media shareable of the day. This one never fails during the summertime. Snoop Dogg checking his electric bill. It's always high, guys. It's always high. Here is one from this week, and it is a nod to our training today. Maybe Helga will buy me dinner for the second time here because it's our social media shareable of the day, QCells. So what are you going to do? You're going to post this picture I just put in the chat, and your post is going to say, what is the best solar panel on the market? See first comment. This is a new strategy on social media that's working well. Then you are going to immediately leave the first comment, and the comment is there in the chat. Put it on your LinkedIn, put it on your Instagram, put it on your Facebook. Tom Cotter could put it on your OnlyFans, but put it out there, get it out to the world. And I really believe it is the best solar panel on the market.
And if you want to drive up your engagement, don't post anything in the first comment until somebody says, hey, you forgot the first comment. And then that drives up your reach, and then you can post it.
You're so smart, Tom.
I'm using ChatGPT to say use less emojis in Jonathan's post.
My brother is a little busy in Portugal, but recruiting tip of the day, don't forget to recruit. It's the one of two massive ways that we make income here. Setters, referral partners, and we have all the tools for them to get started. I love this 4 to 5 week roadmap that we have. All right, last thing here. Yesterday was an operations executive monthly update. If you were on this call, type it in the chat. Let us know something you learned. I just want to share one or two things here real quickly. There was some organization changes. Marketing, training, and events is Colby, Morgan, and Joanna. Kimberly Merla is now with communications, newsletters, and ITC campaigns. Rachel McDonald, Nevada sales program, growth, expansion, projects, customers, and optimizing pipelines. Monty is now the sales operations team manager. So Matt Gordon reports to him. Megan Callahan, Paris with enterprise. Bianca, Andy Boyd is managing our digital properties. And Powur would like feedback on if you are getting beat by other companies on price. Please give us that information and upload the proposal into this form in the chat. So I like that they're looking for feedback on what markets we may not be super competitive in. Please fill out that form. Just to cruise through a few of these updates, the recording will be shared. In California at this time, thanks to GoodLeap, we're one of the few companies with Powerwall 3 qualifying for domestic content at this time. Everything is fluid. Everything is changing. Buckle up, set the expectation. Don't cry over it. Everything is fluid and changing for the rest of the year. Get used to it. Okay. So domestic content is changing. Module updates for LightReach, TPO as well. We are switching to Q.Trons for LightReach. And meter collar delays with Enphase and their battery. So please do not sell the backup switch meter collar in California with the new Enphase battery. It's just not ready yet. I believe that was the direction. We had some opportunities around drop shipments, warehouses, and logistics, especially with the battery. Powerwall 3 could be another shipment. So just set some expectations with the homeowners, you know, that with this special price on this battery, saving you thousands of dollars, you know, we will have to ship that separately. So we're doing everything possible to get it to you, get it done. So just let your customers know. Solar sales proposal performance updates and tools. They went over the proposals and how fast they are getting back to us. There's new main panel upgrade processes that you're going to want to look through. And the Aurora sales training Tuesdays and Thursdays will also help you guys out here as we move along. Change orders, response times are going down. And the backlog is not too big, so more improvement there from a seller experience. And sales success intake. The intake team overall has a high level of satisfaction. There are still a few outliers, but overall the intake team is doing pretty good, and the site surveys are happening quick. So Very happy that they provide us this monthly operation call. Type any questions in the chat, and a few of the leaders here will get to it. Okay, thanks for the patience. I am really pleased that we could have Hanwha QCells on the call today. It's vital moving forward with domestic content, having the biggest, best company with the largest facility in Georgia. So we're going to talk about why Hanwha QCells, what makes them a little special and different, how we can win more deals and separate ourselves as the professional, and touch on a little bit, hopefully, on the Q.Tron 430 watt with the advanced technology. Helga is an amazing partner over at QCells, and she volunteered some time despite how crazy things are with the bill passing and executive orders. So I will yield to her. Helga, thanks for being here. Take it away.
For having me. Lots of familiar faces. You guys can hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Good. Thanks for the shout out on social media. That's awesome. Appreciate it. Definitely owe you another dinner. Just gotta make it to SoCal. Yeah, we've just been, as you can imagine, back-to-back meetings trying to navigate our way through the landscape and the ever-changing landscape. There's a lot of movement by the TPO providers to like stock up on product. And now the executive order kind of might actually snowball that, and people seem to think that maybe they want to do it in the next 45 days. So whatever, because the Treasury has 45 days now to come up with new rules and change the game on us again. It's constantly moving, and it's just craziness. I mean, it's July, and I feel like a year has passed. There's so much change and so frequent. And I think the biggest message I want you guys to take away is that QCells is by far the safest choice in whichever way all this stuff goes. And there's a couple of reasons for that. So let me see if I can share my screen. Can you guys see it?
Tom, can you enable? Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Okay, I'm gonna turn my video off so I can actually see my screen. I have an eye infection, so I can't wear my contacts. So I'm struggling with my glasses here. So sorry about that. So I want to take a little bit of time about, I'm not going to go super technical, just kind of like what makes QCells different and why do we feel like we are indeed the safest choice with all the rules and regulations that are getting thrown at us as an industry, right? So this is our overall slogan. We aim for greener tomorrow with completely clean energy solutions. I think this is something that, some homeowners will care more about. They're just going to do for bill savings. There are also people who care about the environmental aspects of it. And I think we take all of it. And the biggest thing that I think you should talk to homeowners about is the USA commitment that QCells has. It has inherently several advantages by being here in the US. We're not reliant on, traffic issues at ports or wars that stop traffic, flowing from goods. We do it all in the US, right? We have spent a lot of money in the US to build up this ecosystem in the US. And I would say there are more and more homeowners that if they're given the choice, they would prefer to buy something that's made here in the US, right? So what does this mean? So initially, QCells started out with having one factory, and we had a little over 1 gigawatts of capacity. Do you guys have an idea of how much we installed in 2024 in the resi space, roughly? Take a guess. Let's throw out some numbers. How many gigawatts? Oh, you guys are being shy. All right, so it was roughly about 4.8 gigawatts last year. So we originally had 1.1 gigawatts. Then we added more capacity in our factory in Cartersville. And then we built a completely new factory in Cartersville. I can show you guys picture of it. Let me just go here real quick. So this is the factory that's almost done. The module lines are over in this side here, if you guys can see my mouse. And then this side over here is where we're going to do ingot and wafers and cells. So we're actually building out the process of more than just module assembly. So most manufacturers, when they say they're assembled in the US, they rent existing commercial real estate space and slap a line in it and call it good. And then if the conditions change, they can just, sell the equipment and leave. With QCells, it's a very different type of commitment. We actually build the factories for the most efficient layout of a module line. So we have 3 factories, 2 in Dalton, Georgia, and 1 in Cartersville. We built them, if you take a look at the map, most US solar manufacturers or factories that are in the US were built in the southern states, in the red states. And the hope was, if the Inflation Reduction Act was ever under attack, that building these plants in the red states would, make it a little bit harder for those senators and elected officials to vote against solar. But unfortunately, it didn't seem like it made that much of a difference, as we saw, because the bill passed and there's a lot of factories that, are probably going to be impacted by this. So we're in Georgia, and we now have, just to kind of summarize it, to show you the scale, we have now 8.4 gigawatts of module capacity. So if you remember, the resi market is about 4.7. So technically we could serve every single, system that was sold in the US with QCells modules. However, we share that capacity with utility and C&I. So, but amazing numbers. You can tour the factory. We make 45,000 modules per day. So when you walk through there, you definitely, see all those guys working on the lines and gals, and you kind of, I feel like that pressure of, wow, all these people depend on us, all of us, right, in this ecosystem of selling to homeowners. So definitely really want you guys to talk about that, get the homeowners to understand that this is all made in the US. We already kind of talked about this, that by doing this in the US, not only are we creating jobs and supporting the US economy, but we're just a very safe option for tariff reasons, shipping delays, holdups. We don't have to worry about any of those that you could expect with some other manufacturing. I want to talk about bankability. It's also very important in a very challenging climate. Last year, every module manufacturer lost millions, some billions. It was a really rough year. Supply exceeded demand, and we had to sell below cost, right? So you want to partner with a module manufacturer that's going to be around to support the warranty, right? I mean, we have crazy long warranties in our industry. No other industry can you buy something that has a 20+ year warranty, right? So you want to make sure that it's backed by a company that's going to be around. So who owns QCells? QCells is owned by Hanwha. Hanwha is a very large South Korean conglomerate, one of the top 7 Korean companies. And true fashion, like all Korean companies, very well diversified. We're in aerospace, we are in shipbuilding, we make chemicals, we own hotels, we own a baseball team. So a wide variety of things so we're very well diversified. So it helps us, support the solar business in the years like last year, where it was really challenging to make money and making modules. How did Hanwha even get into solar? Hanwha came from its chemicals division. It was supplying backsheets to module manufacturers, and they were selling backsheets to a German module manufacturer called QCells, and they were struggling. So in the end, Hanwha wound up purchasing QCells. So today, all our R&D still all resides in Germany. So little bit more about the financials, so you see that we're well diversified and how big we are. We're, here to stay and here financially sound to be able to support any type of warranty if that were to happen. So we talked a little bit about U.S. manufacturing. Second point wanted to hit home was the bankability. And a third point is just want you to know that you partner with an industry leader, right? If you look at what McKinsey data, it kind of shows you the market share. We've had 30+% for the last 5 years or so. We, even though we're not the cheapest, we can still command a really high market share. There's a big gap between 2 and 3. And the reason is I think that people have come to value that we make a quality module for a fair price. We're never going to be the cheapest, and that's not what we're about. And at the end of the day, I think most installers recognize that value proposition and run with it. I also want to let you guys know that we are very much investing in what's next for solar. So right now, as an industry, if you guys have been in it for a while, you probably know that modules aren't getting any more efficient. We've kind of basically ridden the train of silicon and we can't get more power out of it. So all we're doing now is changing, we've taken out all the little white spaces between the cells. There used to be little white diamonds between cells. We've taken out white lines on the front. We've played with module dimensions as an industry, and it's all just to get higher wattage, but not necessarily more efficient, right? So the next leap of where we're going to go as an industry is perovskite tandem cells. And that is a new organic material that would be kind of like a sandwich cell. And that's going to really give us the next leap in solar. So a module that today would be like a 430 would be a 500+ watt module, right? In the same dimension. So we're super stoked about that. A very expensive endeavor. We already have pilot line running. We just need to commercialize it. So that's what we're working on. And we hope to have this available probably mid to late 2027. So actually not too far out anymore. On the product side, want to talk to you guys a little bit about Q.Tron. It might be a little bit confusing because we are kind of in this transition period. So we make a Q.Tron 430, and when you look at the part number, you might start seeing this H+, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention because it can be a little bit confusing. So that is a domestic content version of the Q.Tron. And we are now only making domestic content versions across all our product lines. So in the channel, you're going to see some non-domestic and some domestic. So the H+ designates domestic content. And it currently only has a junction box on it. So together with MLPE, so with your solar edge or Enphase and racking, you're going to hit that 45%. And then we are going to be adding components to it. As I said, Hanwha makes backsheet, so we'll be adding a backsheet. Hanwha makes encapsulant, so we'll be adding encapsulant so that next year, the domestic content is going to go to 50%, so we can meet that. There are also, not to get too technical on you guys, but there are also FEOC implications now, which stands for Foreign Entities of Concern. So now not only if you want to get paid domestic content, do you need to hit that, now you also need to meet certain requirements. The product cannot, in 2026, the product has to be at least 40% of non-Chinese components. So, and that goes up every year as well. So it's infinitely becoming more difficult to, find products that meet all these tables going forward. But again, rest assured with us, you have that path and we are well positioned to meet those increased percentages. So the Q.Tron specific, it is our higher end line. It's what we consider our premium line. And so what's better about it compared to our main line, our mono PERC, it's a TOPCon cell. It's a higher efficiency cell. And it does better in heat, right? Which if you guys sell in markets like Vegas and stuff, that's important. So We degrade 0.33% per year. So at year 25, we're still over 90%. And with our other line, that's below 90%. And then the temperature coefficient is better as well. So overall, really great looking module, very sleek, and it has good performance in heat, and you're still at over 90% in year 25. So great product to offer your homeowners. We have some pretty slick homeowner materials on the product line. If you guys want any of that collateral, just let Jonathan know, and I will send it along to you guys. And really the last thing I want to touch about, we talked about USA commitment, being a technology leader and having the bankability. I do want to bring up the sustainability. It's not a big thing for every homeowner, but I do think it's important to take a look at. So QCells is a founding member of the Low Carbon Alliance. So as an industry, traditionally, we have not, even though we're trying to do a green thing, we haven't been very green on the manufacturing side. Product is shipping from all over the world. And, QCells really looked at, we want to try to do more of this in the US. And so that's what started the whole process of doing the factory. First, it was module assembly only. Now we're doing other parts. And so we have pursued EPEAT certification. EPEAT is a certification that you'll see for computer monitors. It's very common in electronics. It's kind of a cradle to grave process that you go through certifications on. So we're very proud that the Q.Tron modules are the only residential module and the first residential module to qualify with this EPEAT certification. So we have achieved the bronze level of that. And we have, again, a little flyer on that as well. If you're interested, let Jonathan know, and I will send those resources along. And it explains that, we have this bronze certification and that they're buying a product that has the least environmental impact in a negative way, because we went through all the hoops of doing this in the US, reducing the footprint to do it in the US, and then have a cradle to grave program on that. So that is in a nutshell, kind of what I wanted to talk about, how we're different, and why Powur has chosen, us as a main module. I think it's the safest choice, and it allows you guys just continuity depending on, it doesn't matter which tables they go up another 5%. Like we have a path for it. We can get there. Any questions?
All righty. Thank you, Helga. If you guys have questions and gals, type them in the chat. Raise your hand here. Appreciate the presentation. Yeah, I think a few of us definitely would love some of these assets, pictures or presentations, so we can share it as well. I had 2 quick things while the troops are thinking of some questions for you. I noticed on one of those slides, the recycling partnership. That was kind of interesting. Can you speak to that, like the recycling component?
So California is probably, we don't know yet if it's next year or 27, but they're probably going to require recycling to be included. And so we're working with CALSA and some constituents on the government side on how a program on a resi side could work, because we have recycling programs now for utility scale projects. And it could kind of, it most likely will be some type of program that you can have with, like, when you buy a fridge, your old fridge gets recycled. It's something to that effect. And then we just have to figure out if us manufacturers are going to be required to pay for it, or if it's more at a distributor level. But we already have a program built out for utility. It's a lot easier because you can go to a site, collect a bunch of modules, and recycle the components. Ultimately, we're very interested in scaling this further on the resi side as well. It just is a cost analysis currently to try to figure out how to do that. But you can imagine when you recycle a module, almost all the components are actually reusable. They can be broken down to glass, right? And so it's kind of a waste if that doesn't, it would actually help with cost if you can recycle some of those materials. So we are definitely very far along. The resi side is a little bit more challenging because you have a module here, you have a module there. But that's what we're working with the state of California on, because it's going to become a requirement in California within the next 2 years.
Wow. Good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, let's move to Mr. Aurora. If I said that correctly, go for it.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
This is great presentation, Helga. My question is about the basically the impact from this, the big beautiful bill, whatever it
Yes.
is called. But you said that, yeah, they're not giving any support to the solar industry. They're giving like a lot of handouts to the fossil industry, which is extremely unfortunate.
Yes.
My question is about what are they actually gonna realistically do to, to stop basically flooding of cheap, panels from China? Is there
So
anything there to support your
yeah, so
business?
yeah, there's actually a couple of things. I don't know if you saw yesterday, but we're back to doing the tariffs as well. So, there's the tariff part. So different countries get different tariffs assessed. And then the foreign entity of concern is part of the bill. And so basically there are two parts to that. So if you're a Chinese-owned company and you operate here in the US, they don't want to pay out US taxpayer dollars in the tax credits to these manufacturers. So that is one route where they're trying to stop payout. All of this is because they want to pass on tax cuts, right? And the tax cuts have to be paid for. So they're looking to trim wherever they can. So they're going to try to trim out as much payout out of our industry as possible. So if they don't have to pay out to the Chinese guys who set up factories here in the US, meaning like if you use their product, it wouldn't qualify. So, and then additionally, there is the supply chain FIOC part. So we now have a new table as of January 1st, 2026 that specifies at least 40% of a system cannot be Chinese. So, and we actually use the same domestic content tables unless Treasury comes out with new tables. So,
Okay.
so yeah, we are positioning all our supply chain so that we can meet that percentage, and it goes up every year, like quite drastically on the FIOC side.
Yeah,
So
no, I understand that part, Helga, about that. Basically the trying to for foreign substance or foreign countries of concern. But
yeah,
what has happened in the past, which we came to know about, is like they basically play whack-a-mole and keep moving to like the Thailand to Vietnam,
yes.
and it's the basically the company actually is still Chinese. So
Yes.
is the US government doing anything to stop that kind of nonsense, or we don't have
So
any say in that?
yeah, I mean, to a degree through tariffs is kind of the point, but there will be some product that will come in. It's just like, it's going to be this year, there's still a market for cheap stuff on the cash and loan deals, but next year, pretty much the only solar, not the only, but in many parts of the country with California and Hawaii and some East Coast states, there'll still be a natural demand. But in other parts of the country with the cost of power is pretty low, probably TPOs is the only way we're going to be selling solar. And most capital providers will want domestic content. So so that's where it gets challenging, because those brands coming in don't meet any of those tables. So they kind of don't have a play at that point.
Well said. Thank you, Helga, for your expertise.
Yep.
Let's go to Tom Cotter.
Hey, Helga.
Hey,
Could
Tom.
you speak to Q.Tron and
Yeah.
its lower temperature coefficient and how that could benefit, those of us who are selling in warmer climates, compared to some competitors that are out there, other solar panels?
Yeah, so there's kind of really three types of technology on the cell level. So you have mono-PERC, which has been around forever, very solid technology because it has been around forever. And then you have TOPCon and you have heterojunction. So those are different types of cells. They're more back contact, and they hold up better in heat, right? The difference between TOPCon and heterojunction is very minimal. you know, they're very close, and the cell is made differently, but the performance characteristics are very similar. It costs more to do those cells, so that's why they tend to be a little bit of a higher premium. But the big advantage is that they degrade a lot less in high heat. So it's definitely a good choice for higher temperature climates.
So how would a salesperson explain, the difference if they've got their quote with Q.Tron modules and there's a competitor quote, that doesn't have those characteristics? What
Yeah,
easy way
and
to
it's always
explain that?
kind of like early in the industry we kind of pushed for, we should really get a price on watts delivered, not on a nameplate rating, because essentially that's what we're doing as an industry, right? I quote you 6 kW and another person quotes you 6 kW, and one's going to deliver way more power than the other, and it's a combination of degradation, right? And how does it do in heat? So sorry, my cat is making an appearance. So, that is the best way to explain it to a homeowner. Like what you need to be looking at is how many watts are you actually producing? Because not all modules are created equal.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the kilowatt hours in year one and look at the kilowatt
Yeah.
hours over 25 years, right?
Yes. And then look at the temperature coefficient, right? So all those things matter. And there's a reason that they're priced a little bit higher, but really, unfortunately, as industry, we didn't go to cost per watt delivered. That's what it should have been. But we don't. It's on nameplate rating, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Fabian was asking if the panels will degrade more in the New England states or than other markets.
No, no. No, it's not really the degradation of a module. So the first year it loses the most because it burns in. And then after that, it's a pretty steady process, honestly. That's why we can pretty accurately, the way when you build a module, obviously on a mono-PERC side there, we have 30 years of experience because there are modules that are literally 30 years out and old and that they're still functioning. But what you do when you come out with new cell technology, you actually do accelerated testing in the lab condition, and you simulate 25 years of exposure. So no, there's really no difference in that sense. Obviously, the hotter climate is, the more a module derates. So usually, states like Colorado where it's crispy but yet really sunny, that's where you get the best performance out of modules.
Got it. All right, everybody, any last questions here? Feel free to raise your hand, type them in the chat. I do want to ask one question, Helga, since we have you and you're so smart on some of the legislation. Can you give us like the high level 60-second executive order, like your team's interpretation of that? Is things going to be in limbo for 45 days? Could we see these things sunset quicker? Is it even worth speaking to right now?
Yeah, I mean, everybody is a little bit trying to interpret what it will mean, but for us as it affects utility massively because it's going to impact how long a project has to get installed in order to qualify for the tax credit. With on the residential side, it's a little bit different. So, the TPO providers have to pay 5% of the project value. That allows them to safe harbor, and that buys them, 4 years of being able to deploy that material. The question now is, that's the safe harboring part is what's being challenged. So that's why but Treasury has been given 45 days to potentially come out with different rules. So all of this executive action is a result of the Freedom Caucus. So the budget hawks in the Republican Party didn't want to vote for the bill. So Trump made a side deal with them and said, I will go after solar after the fact, but if I need you to sign this now. And so nobody knows yet if legally all of this is actually, if he can actually do what he's trying to do right now. So there's a lot of, it just hit last night. So everybody's trying to figure it out. But it could mean is that all the TPO providers are going to safe harbor now in the 45 days period.
Gotcha.
So
Wow.
yeah, that
Okay.
could be one of the outcomes.
Is 25D still okay throughout the year? Paid?
Yeah, I don't think they're
installed?
gonna mess. I don't think they're gonna mess with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. A few more minutes, guys. Let's go to Bill and then Mr. Aurora one more time. Go for it, Bill.
Helga, thank you for the presentation. Excellent
Yes.
information. And I'm hoping that we can get a copy of the slides.
Yes, definitely.
Question I have is regards to Hanwha and their breadth of products. So you have also, besides the great Q.Tron panel, you have an inverter system, battery, and you provide the financing, right?
Yes.
And as I found out at SolarCon, you have a nice bundled package that you're offering to dealers across the nation. Why is that not necessarily available through the Powur platform?
I think that's more a Powur decision. They have access. You guys have access to all of it. I think it's always hard when you're so spread over multiple states to have a lot of different offerings. So I think it's kind of been about simplicity, but it's going to be challenging over the next couple of years because all the TPO providers are going to own this equipment that they're going to start sending to you guys. So it's going to get infinitely harder going forward because you're going to get a pile from your regular distributor. Now you're going to get a pile from GoodLeap. Now you're going to get a pile from LightReach, like whoever you're partnering with, right? So it's operationally, it's not going to get easier. So I think right now, you guys are getting the GoodLeap Q.Tron, it's a great combination. That is product that they were able to safe harbor using the 40% domestic content. So, and then now going forward, the Teslas are going to be more challenging because you can't get there with 45%. So now you're back to needing to AC couple to a Powerwall. So that's why I'm trying to say it's like I think Powur's executive team is making decisions. They have access to all of it, and I think if you guys want to continue selling Powerwalls, you're going to have an AC coupled solution. So that could be our AC module. LightReach is going to add it to their AVL this month. So you'll start seeing that product out in the marketplace more and more. But you can AC couple to Enphase to a Powerwall as well. But
are those products on GoodLeap's AVO? Helga, do you know?
No, we're working with GoodLeap, but they're I think they're also it's a lot of lift right now for all the TPO providers. There's now all of a sudden, oh my gosh, now we may have to safe harbor, in 45 days. Whereas people kind of thought we had all along as a manufacturer expected safe harboring by the end of this quarter. And then again, before July of 2026. And now all of a sudden this might be in the next 45 days. So yeah, they have a lot on their plate. And so they haven't had the bandwidth, but they will. Yeah. Because they also see if you want to do Tesla Powerwalls, like you have to have an AC coupled solution to it. So why not simplify and have less brands instead of more, right? So
thanks for that perspective. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it. I think we're gonna start to wrap up here, guys and gals. Can you show Helga some love in the chat, sparing 60 minutes to come on here and drop some value and knowledge for us and represent a great partnership for this panel. Helga, we appreciate your time as always. And
I appreciate the invite.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for pushing QCells. We appreciate it.
100%. Got to stick together right now.
Yes. It's crazy times. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Helga. Have a great day.
Bye.
All right. I think we'll give you back a few minutes of your time, ladies and gentlemen. Make some calls, knock the doors. Let's get after it. Tom, closing words. See you Thursday. Tom, you're muted. Come on, Tom.
Sorry. Trying to avoid that. I'll see you all at Thursday, noon Pacific, for the next direction that we are all headed together.
That's right. Let's do it.